The art of screen printing.
Hi, everybody. It's Lon and Cory here again, and we're going to start part one of our texture effects as they apply to our SEPs on that center ring, that purple ring that you started on last time. We'll put the effects in that. Cory, take it away.
Here is our ring in layers, and as we talked about before, the textures that I had created were all on their separate layers. So I'm going to turn them on here, and you can kind of see them all come together at one time. In the meantime, I have moved these to their own channels, so I can, we can go through this process. So let's turn everybody back on where we left off at with our base and our white, and we're going to start with the first brush metal. So you can kind of see, I'm going to zoom up here just a little bit, and you're going to be able to see if I turn it on and off. I'm just going to turn it on and off. You can see there. So I'm going to make a selection of this information. You can see the brush metal there. I'm going to go to my white ring. I'm going to hide the marching ants, and I'm going to knock it right out. So there you can see a complete removal. So we have some slivers of the white base, or white, sorry, the blending white there, but that's exactly what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my guys back on together again. And you can see now that that brush metal texture is starting to show up. The next part of this is actually a deeper shadow, which we created just for a little bit more value. Now this particular texture needs to be knocked out of the white base. So we're going to make a selection of that information. I'm going to go up to my base where the ring is. I'm going to hide the marching ants, and I'm going to watch me delete this out. So you can see that it's actually deleting in increments here. Now I'm going to, right now I've got about 7% now. So I'm fine with that. It's going to be a little bit of base, but not enough to be effective against it. So let's go ahead and turn that ring back on, and let's turn our white back on. And now you can see here that brushed metal is really showing up. And also too, we have all of our bevel in place. We still have that sort of that core shadow, the core color, and then the shadow for the bevel, even though it was very light, is still here. And this blending white is giving us our highlight on that bevel. So we can kind of see that, and this is the interesting part about working on a black shirt. We're using 3 values here with a single color and removal of our base. So you have your core color, the purple, that has a base under it, so that keeps it at its 100% opacity. Then we removed the base under certain sections like here, where all of a sudden the opacity falls back, even though that it's really an illusion. It's a muting of the color. We haven't removed any actual information off the purple plate. But for this darker shadow, we did actually remove, or I'm sorry, we will. Let's go ahead and make a selection of that real fast. And you'll see me remove it off of the purple ring some too. Here we go. I use the output levels, and I'm just going to drop it down just a little bit. So we actually removed some of that area. Say okay. Let's turn everybody back on together. And there, that's the first part of the texture for this portion of the in a center ring. But again, having those 3 values with using just a removal of base, having base, and removal of opacity on our core gives us those 3 separate values. And that just works so beautifully for what we do. I'm going to go back. We're going to actually look at real quick, the rocky texture that you kind of see me toggling back and forth here. And then also we have this marbling texture as well. And then we have the sort of turquoise leaf that we have that's sort of breaking the purple up and just giving us a nice change and variation of color. Both the texture of the rock and the marbling are about literally removal of on the base and a little removal of density on our purple plate. So let's go ahead and do that real fast. So let's go ahead and make a selection of the rock texture. I'm going to go to my a white printer for this ring, and I'm going to just knock it out. So 1 and 2. Then I'm going to go to my marbling texture. I'm going to make a selection of that as well. We're going to go up to the portion of the white printer. I'm going to hide the ants so you can kind of see this. And this is going to happen a little bit at a time in a few steps, in increments, essentially, again. Not going to blow it completely out. Just got a little bit left over there. And then also, we don't want to forget to actually knock it out of our white, our top white, because that's important as well. Even though it's off the base, it needs to be out of the white as well. So I've selected both of these together. I'm just going to knock it right out of our white channel, and you can kind of see it happening right there. okay? And then let's go ahead and turn those on together real fast. And now you can really see the interest of this white base. We didn't struggle with all the halftones in a single image. We sort of took it in and made it flat, and then we took all the information and started removing things and adding things. So we got a really nice looking base here for the ring, so that all those textures look really nice. Okay, and then the last part is this blue, sort of blue flecks. So I'm going to go ahead and make a selection of that. I'm going to go up to my white printer ring, I'm sorry, the top white printer, and we're going to head and actually knock that out a little bit. And then we're also going to knock it out of our purple, because we don't want it printed with the purple. So I'm going to knock it out. And then as far as the white base goes, we can see that the actual white base is already in play for that. Okay, and even though we removed it in the shadow area here, you can see how the blue is actually going to sort of take a little, it goes from brightness to a little bit of darkness. But I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to take our original purple shadow that we made for the bevel itself. There it is. And I'm actually going to remove some of that information on the blue. So I'm going to hide the marching ants. I'm going to go ahead and grab my levels. And I'm going to take my output levels here, and you're going to see it slowly kind of fade. I mean, there is really blown out, but I'm going to make it about, I think right now it's at 60%, which it is. I'm going to say okay, deselect. Let's go ahead and turn everybody back on so we can see how that's working. There's my white and my purple. Oops, there we go. Now you can see all of that texture working together as a completed separation. And then the next video, what we'll do is we'll bring all these plates together. So when we go on to the wedges, all this is sort of set up. So the halo, the burst, the mesh, and the rings will all be compacted into their own plates. So we can kind of start to see this thing come together.
We're finally done with the rings. And we shall move on to the wedges next. He's Cory, I'm Lon. We are Graphic Elephants. This is the Art of Screen Printing presented by GSG. See you next time.
See you next time.